And good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back into the Dragon's Den. My name is Digital Dragon, a 3D printing variety streamer here on Twitch. I hope everyone's doing well. What's 3D printing variety streamer, you may ask? Well, it means we do everything from printer unboxings like our X1Cs, full up printer builds like our Vorons, the LH Stinger. We take part in beta testing for hot ends and things like the box turtle and some other designs. So yeah, hope everybody's having a great day today. So there was a couple of things that we were working on the Micron build, and that's what we're going to be working on today and focusing on today. We're still trying to get our Z probe, which is the E3D Revo PZ probe setup. We got the X-axis homing, we got the Y-axis homing. The PZ probe still giving us a little bit of trouble. And part of it, I think, is because our tool head is angled backwards ever so slightly. And I'm wondering if it is because right now the only place that tool head is screwed in is right at the top. There's two from the front, one from the back in the middle. That's the only place that it's screwed in, which tightens the top and allows the bottom to kind of bleed out some. So what I'm wondering is there is a mount for a cartographer, and what that does is it ties the bottom of the print head in with the carriage. And I think if we do that, it might bring it in a little bit. Now we did need to print that mount because we're using a PZ probe, which is mounted directly to the hot end itself. But I'm thinking that mount might help pull that lower section in just a tad, which will at least make us a little bit straighter and give us better contact. Because what that PZ probe is doing is it's tapping the nozzle, I guess like this. It's tapping the nozzle on the bed. Well, when it's at an angle, it's tapping and it's giving a different reading on that PZ probe every time. It's not giving a consistent squish, which is what the PZ probe is looking for, is a squish of that washer, which is going to change the electrical resistance in it. So I think potentially adding that cartographer mount, even though we're not using the X end stop and things like that, it might help us out in the long run in getting the PZ probe triggering more reliably. Hey Waters, how's it going, friend? Hope you're doing well. So real fast, I was having to swap filament over here because we had I had PLA all in here, so let me get, oh, that's right, it actually comes up because I'm using an actual spool of bamboo filament. So that came up automatically. Bear with me 1 second, because what I need to do is try and pull up the file here, and I'm going to have to kind of dig around real fast over here. So how's it going, Waters? I am definitely interested in talking more to Wolfspeed. Are you going to pull that up nicely, or so not what I wanted? Okay, fine. Fusion it is. Let me pull up some files in Fusion real fast. Because that seems to be the way to go, is pulling it up in Fusion and then grabbing the part that I need and pulling it out. If I'm free on Monday, you can swing by and chat in person. Bought a whole new tube for the CO2 laser as well. Sweet. If you're in Monday, you can swing by and chat in person. Is he coming by on Monday? Is that what I'm hearing? Hey, Eagle Dragon, how's it going? You just dropped Mrs. Dragon off at Light Rail, and she is at DIA right now, and she is on her way back to RDU to see you. Really? I didn't think she's on her way to the airport. Ah, gotcha. Gotcha. I just saw your text, uh, Noah. So, or excuse me, Waters. Bear with me 1 second. I need to. Yeah, I guess she is on the plane, isn't she? Because I'm showing the flight from noon to three something, but that's our time. So if you go back to Denver time, yeah, she would have just gotten on the plane. Okay, Roger. And the other thing I need to do is Alexa, set an alarm for 12:30 a.m. Wow. Alexa, cancel that alarm. Alexa, set an alarm for 12:30 p.m. Okay. That's better. Setting an alarm for, just after midnight tonight's not going to do good. I think I will miss picking Mrs. Dragon up at the airport and get yelled at. Spidey's coming for his on Monday as well. Awesome. You can call me my real name. All right, that's cool. All right, yeah. So bear with me 1 second, folks. I'm going to dig through the um, CAD over on my laptop real fast because I made the mistake of updating Fusion on my PC. Don't do it. It's now web based, and yeah, it's it's a mess. So don't don't do that. PM you. Okay, what's up, Thunder Keys? How's it going? Are you trying to send me a file for the ant head so I don't have to pull things out of the put you on Discord. Um don't need that. Don't need that. Don't need that. Don't need the ducks. Don't need that. Don't need that. Don't need that. Oh, that's sweet. All right. Oh, the alarm. Yeah, I fixed it. Gotcha. Hey, Free Ethan, how's it going? Welcome on in. I apologize. I am trying to dig around in CAD and, looking at the straight ant head, I'm only getting stuff for the 2020, not the 1515 stuff out of the ant head. What am I doing here? Darn it. So what I'm trying to do is find the mount. I'm trying to find the cartographer mount for the 1515 frame for the Micron. I think you can, like on my Mac, it has not updated and it hasn't offered to update. Look at the Micron repo. That's what I was trying to do. Okay, so look at the actual Micron repo, not the ant head for the Micron stuff. It's integrated with R1 now, you think? Okay. Yeah, it's not a long-term solution, and that's the thing. So let me jump over here. So Micron, right? Looking at the STLs, there's nothing here for toolhead. Because this tools is literally just tools to do the build. So there's nothing here for toolhead in the standard STLs. Gantry just has AB, idlers, X, and Z. And if we're up here, miscellaneous, yep, just splash screens. Gantry, AB, idlers, X under X-axis, probes, joints, probes. Beacon probe mount. That's what I want to print. And the reason I want to print this is because I believe this will tie in the lower portion of the, it'll tie in the lower portion of the tool head to the actual carriage, which may help because right now it's tilted at an angle, right? The bottom is tilted out, so it's slanted slightly backwards. Let me see if I can show you guys this. We're on the bench. Let's go straight bench side. I will zoom you guys in some. And see if I can't make this work. Okay, so if I do like this, and I take our right angle and I put it on the bed, right? And I come forward, you'll see a little bit of a gap right here. So this is tilted back ever so slightly. And because of that, I think we're not hitting squarely on the nozzle, and therefore it's not triggering the PZ probe reliably. So I think if I add this mount in, even if we're not using the X end stop, it will help. So yeah, let me kill that, come over here. Bamboo. So it's ant head, STLs. That was, no, not ant head. Luke, come on. Micron, STLs, gantry, X-axis, probes, the beacon mount. And we're going to grab Micron profile, slice, and print. All right. That will take a couple of minutes, about a half hour, which will be fine. Hey, Steve Builds, how's it going? Steve, quick question for you. I was starting to watch one of your things. So I am having some of the same issue you had where my tool head is angled slightly back. So the bottom is protruding forward from the top. And I know you had the same issue and you solved it. But what I'm looking at doing, and I'm wondering, is if adding the actual cartographer mount down here at the bottom to tie that bottom into the metal gantry, because I'm running the Fabreeko Honey Badger metal gantry for Zura. Oh, you haven't solved it. Okay, well, I'm hoping that this will help pull it in some. We are running the PZ probe, and it's weird because I'm getting a good first tap, and then the second tap, when it goes down, it just keeps going down, and it's driving into the bed. So it's really weird, but that's something that we're futzing with right now, or at least that's where we were. That's why we have no panels on it, because I want to get at least full valid motion done before I get too far along. Good morning, Liz. How are you? Yes, see everybody soon. You're coming to 3D Printopia, right, Steve Builds? I mean, I still haven't even put on the panels. We still have to do the colony clacker door. I feel like I'm kind of running out of time. I don't know why. It's almost like there's a show coming up, like the riff sitting on the floor behind me. I cannot get the, so here's another thing you might be able to help me with, Steve. So we're running the riff, right? This is our 300 by 600 printer, right? Oh, the 300 by 600 printer. And it's got 4 Z lead screws. And I cannot seem for the life of me to get it to Z tilt adjust. Right now we are on 4. So the highest sensitivity filtered. Yeah, Con Crunch. Keep hoping Projects in Dad's Garage is going to be here because I'm rocking his mug today. So it's making it on the spectrum. So that's really low. Yeah, I think you wound up on the second sensitivity, but for whatever reason, and you were running 5160s though, right? So we're doing, I just brought this up. So we're doing, where am I at? Oh, needs QGL if it's 4. No, you can do Z-tilt adjust, but all right, so you would use QGL even if it's 4 lead screws versus a flying gantry. See, I was thinking that as well. Z-tilt adjust is what the designer, so the designer of this is V4 Projects. Can't remember where he's out of, but yeah, it's been annoying me. So yeah, I will try switching it over to QGL. It should be relatively easy. Just change it from Z-tilt to QGL. There's not too many settings that are different in those sections, right? It's just what it uses as a Python script in the back end. So anyhow, we're going to do home X. Sensorless homing. It looks like it's not sensitive enough just yet, so we'll fix that again. Home Y. And then homing Z. And we'll let it go. Because like I said, it always does the first home. It's the second one that it complains about. And watch it call me a liar today. Yep, see, it didn't catch that one either. So it was going to start driving down and bend the... Come on, darn you. Now I got y'all cattywampus again. Somewhat. So yeah, we'll keep playing with that. No, I've got it set for 4 points. Yeah, I had the E3D docs up. And of course, why would that actually... Does anybody notice that OBS... No, don't change that. That OBS likes to... Yeah. Even though it's on the same freaking thing, it doesn't show it all the time. Yeah, so we're doing the troubleshooting stuff. Let me actually switch over to full display here. So I set it to profile 4 because when I was originally doing just 0 or the original like default, it wasn't triggering at all. And the original profile is no lights, right? And now it seems to be triggering on my finger very easily and repeatedly. Why? Why me? Yeah, still a little rough on that one. Now it calls me a liar. Okay. I don't know. Let's X and Y. So this is a little bit interesting, Steve. So we've got, oh, no, I do have that part over here. We're running CAN bus and we're running a GBB15 board back here in the back between the A and B motors. So our A and B motors plug into here. So our CAN bus goes from the Leviathan to the GBB15, and then from the GBB15 through our umbilical to an EBB36. These were items that were provided by Zura, and it is actually over on the GBB board. So GBB, we're at 100. Let's go 105. We should be dropping the homing current, correct? Normally? I know some of my stuff does, some of my stuff doesn't. So, all right, well, 105 seems to work there. That works. Let's bring it all the way down and see if it will do its tappy tappy and done. And all right. Why are we running into this where we're getting all cattywampus again? Dang it. I'm also having some weirdness where it feels like I've got a motor that's not keeping up, like I have a motor that's skipping steps. Yeah, I have been checking that link. Um, so console wise, it dropped the current, made the move, brought the current back up. Now you were doing stuff exactly. Yeah, let's look at the probe settings. This is the PZ probe config. I copy and pasted everything over. So we do have the weight and we do drop the current down to 40%. And I just think for some reason that dropping it down that low is causing an issue with the motors. We're running the Galileo Z's here. Yeah, raise it. We want to go up a little bit at a time, right? We don't want to like really jump up. That wasn't what I wanted. Go up 0.5. Because I know it does say that it wants the lowest, whatchamacallit, the lowest power setting for the PZ probe to work and trigger effectively. We just needed Steve to be here. Everything works better when Steve's here. Uh-oh. Okay, so no trigger on probe after full movement. Now you were seeing this, right? But we do have the dwell time in here. Is this more of just the gantry just maybe cattywampus? Hit the PZ button once and try again. So this increases the sensitivity to the next level. Yeah, it was no trigger after full move. Yeah, it was no trigger after a full move. So that's where I'm wondering. I think I've got. What is my Z? Yeah, my position men is set to 0. We probably need to make that, what is that normally, like -5? Which allows for that gantry to be cattywampus some until it corrects. Have it at the sensitivity and manually align the gantry. I mean, literally, the gantry looks pretty close. Hey, Tugboat, how's it going, friend? It has been a while. Okay, QGL. Yeah, I think that was the trick, or the trick right there was the allowing it to be able to go into a negative state, because that'll help it get the gantry aligned. Okay. Faith restored. See, I knew all it was is I needed Steve Builds to be here and things will start working better. You'll send an invoice. Yeah, I think I am going to move the front probe points back about 5 millimeters because it's right at the edge of the bed. What are the gantry points set to? The QGL stuff set to. One. Wow, that's pretty intense. I'm going to, like I said, slide that back ever so much. I also don't know why they're doing, well, I know why they're doing it 140 because they're assuming a cartographer or something that would be in a negative. But if we're doing nozzle probing, we can move this back some as well. This is a 180 by 180, so we'll go to the 160 point. I'm just going to save that for now because I want to see if we actually completed QGL or if it... All right, yeah, we're within range. So rock on. So we completed QGL, so that's fabulous. Let me do a firmware restart. And yeah, that's... So see, that's what I was thinking, but it's one of those things that you start fighting something on the... Like, I'm switching things again. On the riff, I was fighting Z-tilt and banging my head as why is Z-tilt not working? Why is it not working? Why is it not working? When the answer is it's not working because I should probably be using QGL. So I will switch over and try that, but it's another one of those things where you're working on it and it's getting late at night, but you can't let go of the what you're doing. All right, so I'm going to home this again. And we'll see if how that QGL works or looks. Yeah, a little bit better. A little bit closer to the corners, so that'll be good. You'll send me an invoice. So, I don't know, maybe I'll grab you some coffee or something while we're out at 3D Printopia. When are you heading out there, Steve? So how you been, Tugboat? I've been doing pretty good. Been working on this build. As you can see, this is like number 15 in the about 4 p.m. on Friday. Okay, so you're coming in. Excuse me, you're coming in at the end because you're not at a... Yeah, Vaughn doesn't have a booth at Printopia, right? So you're just coming to attend? Don't let them take you to the Aberdeen Diner for coffee. You know what? I guarantee you, Thunder Keys, that me and the KB3D crew will be at the Aberdeen Diner at least once for this on this trip because it's going to be the last time there. Yeah, we're me and Evil Diesel are coming in on Thursday, and then Mrs. Dragon's going to be coming in on Friday. She's got to stick around for an appointment on Thursday, and I'll get a late start. She'll probably go up to my brother's in Fredericksburg, spend the night, play with the niece, and then come in on Friday. So we'll get there a little early because we're going to, like I said, come in Thursday, get a good night's sleep. We'll probably go in Friday to help KB3D and a few others get started. Our booth, Pro samples exceeded sample tolerance. Well, what did you not like about that corner? First you don't succeed, try again. So yeah, on Friday we'll help KB3D get set up, we'll help Ecovate get set up, and then we'll have a table right next to Ecovate 3D. So have they, Liz, they have not posted the floor plan out, have they? Help me, Luke? Oh, you got all the help you could ever need. You've got the Hedgehog. Well, actually, Hedgehog is going to be losing his mind, but you're going to be over there with Hedgehog and Kevin and Glendon, right? Now, we could probably help you. I can tell you this. Evil Diesel's going to help just about everybody out if he can. And you know me, I'll help anybody out as well, but we've got our banner. I haven't showed that off yet. I'd have to go get it. But I've got a 3-foot by 6-foot banner. We got some new business cards. We need to, yeah. We've got new business cards. We've got banners. We've got Mrs. Dragon's coins, my coins, and Evil Diesel has coins now. So we've got like a full Polymaker box of coins for everybody. So we're doing pretty good. They posted the map on Facebook this morning. Awesome. Because I would have to pull up the map. Did they do? No, they didn't do that there. They didn't do it there. You said they posted it on Facebook? Well, at least it remembered me. I go out to Facebook so rarely. Look at you, Thunder Keys, being all helpful. All right, so the map. Boom, 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 boom. So main entrance is up here in the top left, and there's ways you can come down here in this corner section, but you have Ecovate 3D. They're here in North Carolina out of Raleigh. That's where I go hang out a lot. And that Luke Eye, that is me. So I'm going to be right across from the LDO booth, right near the EPAX folks. Oh, good. They did rearrange some things. So Snapmaker was down, I think, down here next to EPAX, and they've had to pull out because they couldn't get visas issued. But yeah, and then down here at the bottom, darn it. Where did you like? Where did my controls go? Right there, that's what I was looking for. So you got Zombie Hedgehog, K2 Kevin down here. I'm assuming that's where Pez Liz is going to be at. You've got Polymaker up here, Gloop, Hugh Forge. Is this Neokoi Prince right here with Hugh Forge? I think you're beside Vicky's hunt. Yeah, I didn't know who this Sagan S is. I know Tripod, and I know Big Jano. You got Green Gate, ECW 3D. I don't think I've heard of them before. Okay, cool. We got West 3D, KB 3D is way over here next to Overture. Cookie Cad, Luke Slab. I'll be hanging out over here a lot because I'm going to be talking to Luke Slab. I just placed another order with KB 3D, hoping that they'll bring me some nozzles since, you know, we've got the Blue Storm Giga hot end installed on the Optimus P1. I need to get a CAN bus cable for it or fabricate one. And we've got a 5-meter beacon cable, and I'm going to have to rebrain it. But we've been slowly, surely working on that. Hey, Lee Marie 3D, Jeremy, how are you doing? Thank you for this resubscribe for 5 months in a row. Heck yeah. You'll be at the West 3D booth for a chunk of the show. Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll be close to one another then. So the plan, we're going to have Magenta Rising, okay, which has a hot end that I will be able to talk about from Luke's laboratory. You may have heard rumors about it or seen things about it. I will have one in Magenta Rising, and I have one in Rift, which is why I'm trying to get both of those going. Okay. I want to talk to LDO. I'm definitely talking with West 3D, KB3D. I'm also going to talk to the BQ folks to try and stock some parts in the local area here for people that are builders, modders, and so on and so forth. So that's going to be part of Digital Dragon 3D, is I'm going to start carrying parts for various printers. So hot ends, boards, motors, probably some kits here and there as well, some of the smaller kits, unless I get a lot of people in the area that want Vorons and stuff, or bigger kits. So I'm going to start off small and start expanding out and providing print services, but not necessarily like, we'll say STL flicks and that type of stuff, more industrial type print services. So that's stuff that's going on there. Good to see Bruce is going to be there with E3D, Coco Press, and PK. So that's going to be a huge booth to go and hang out around. Yeah, engineering services. There you go. That's true, Waters. He's probably going to moonlight with me and Evil Diesel a bit. Speaking of engineering services, as we are in the process of grafting a Blue Storm Terra hot end onto the Optimus P1, Waters just reached out to me about helping one of the local shops with their Orange Storm Giga to Blue Storm Terra upgrade. So, okay, so it looks like we are getting the PZ probe working. Thank you so much, Steve Bilge. Yeah, I definitely owe you like a meal or something for that, because I was banging my head up against a wall. But it looks like we're good. So we've got that done. We did PID tuning last stream. So we've got X, Y, Z homing, PID tuning. What else is left? Seems like we always come back to the Voron documents. E-steps. Pretty much where we're going to be is E-steps. But before we do that, I'm at least going to put a back panel on. Because the back panel is going to allow us to run our PTFE tube through that back panel, and we'll do that. So let's just go back to the main bench side camera. We're going to go ahead and shut this down. I really want to find out from here. Yeah. That makes me feel a little bit better where we're not sitting right on the bed. Okay. So we do have, like I said, we do have the switch. I did replace that because that other switch was just way too floppy, and I felt like you would tap the machine or just the machine vibrations would cause a disconnect in the switch, and I was like, no bueno. So I replaced just the switch portion. Everything else was working fine. We do have the Ethernet connector over on this side. I'm going to leave this side open in case he wants to run, say, like a USB to the back panel. That could be something he wants to do. But we do need to get our rear panel on here. And I believe I'm just going to lay this down with the screen hanging over the front. And that should make it easier for us to put in our other nuts on this side because it can fall out. We'll have the 4 up here, the 3 down here, and then we'll be able to add ours into the side. We probably need to bring up the documentation for the Micron, just because it will tell us where, how many things to put on there. At least I thought it would. Yeah, there's that. We start getting the sub-assemblies ready. Frame. Okay, yeah, we've got to mount the rails, then start putting it together. You know what? The hell with it. We'll figure it out on the fly. Panels. Got a set of Micron panels here. We can also put the bottom deck on now since we're pretty close. I think at this point I am not going to mount the lights yet because I still haven't found a good light set yet. That'll be the rear panel. That is the old door, the rear panel. Side panels, top. Okay, good. Off to see mom and sister. There you go. You have fun today, Liz, seeing all your family? The new merch is here. So if anybody wants some merch, I may have a coffee mug with me and a couple of other things if anybody is interested. Picking it up at the show. Very nice. Now, what did I do with all of the panel clips? We need this. Panel clips. All right. Got a few panel clips here. Okay, and the rear piece. This, I think it's just straight pass through if I remember right. We'll go there. We'll have two up there. And I have a feeling I'm going to have extra panel clips because I put stuff in here and then remembered that I was doing um the no nut ones this time around with just the T twisties. So provided these work, and was this doesn't have the panel stuff in it in the new one, right? So does the old one have the panels in it? Because this goes down and ends. Yeah, we might have to actually look at the CAD for the panel stuff because even the older Micron manual doesn't even get into panels if I remember right. Yep. Nope. So fine. What are we going to do? All right. Let's do. Um, do that one. I love when you have multiple accounts. Update ready to install. Go away. Open. Says me. And this will take a little bit because it's a decent sized file. But I just want to double check and make sure. All right, let me come over here to the full display. You guys can see that Fusion is loading. Everybody ready for 3D Printopia? Gotcha. So one there, one around the side. The way these are latching on, we do have to put, these will get screwed in. So we'll have 1, 2, 3 on this side. 4 up in there. So I'll be right back. I got to run downstairs and grab my drivers that I left downstairs when I was working on the 0G last night. You gotta love when you have projects all over the house that you're trying to get ready for a show. Spaghetti detected. Resume. Okay. I mean, one over there for that. One here for this. One here for this. We're going to have one extra one there. And is it only one size of panel foam for the Micron? I'm going to assume so. It's definitely got the thickness for 3 mil foam. So all right, so we're going to have to put our foam on. We'll flip this over, get the back panel on. We'll be able to route a PTFE tube and get our E-step set up. Maybe throw some plastic down, and then we'll go on from there. So when you're working with your foam, depending on what kind of foam you're using, 3 millimeter stretches a little bit, but not drastically. The 1 millimeter foam will stretch real easily, and you really don't want to be stretching it because you'll lose some of the compression capability of the foam by stretching it out. So make sure when you're doing this that you're, one, trying to keep it lined up with the edge, and then two, you're not pushing it down and compressing that foam or stretching it. You just want to very lightly lay it in place. Then over time, having the clips and stuff on it, it will compress to its, I'll say its right size, or um, to what will wind up being its normal size. And you may have to potentially replace your foam over time. You're doing maintenance and upgrades, it's always a good time to look at your foam and see if it's at a stage where it needs to be replaced. You see I'm just working one edge around at a time. And I'm running one finger right along the edge, and the other finger I'm just kind of making sure to push the foam over against the other finger. So that means I'm getting really close to the edge, which will keep it lined up with the inside edge of our 1515. So one, keep it from just showing on the inside edges, and two, will help us get the best seal possible. Let me split these apart again. We are going to go ahead and follow this inner edge. Once again, we want to make sure that we get a good seal to keep all of our fumes in there. I mean, we do have our Nevermore, so keeping the fumes inside is what we really want to do. Makes best use of that filtration system. All right, one panel down. Oh, almost. That'll go there. Go here. Now, we do have, like I said, we do have some uh, peanuts in here that we're not going to need if we're using the twist locks. So I do have them there in case. This is the first time I'm using these twist locks, so don't know how well they're going to work, but we will see. Okay. Pretty nifty. Now I see why people use these. Would make it a lot easier for maintenance and stuff. Though I would highly suggest to probably have several of the pins printed out and available. So I can see that that would be, if anything, the piece that would probably cause you some heartburn. You go there. You slide back there. I'll count. Yeah. That is my one concern with these is I just sheared a couple of them off. We should not be using a knife for that. Let's try that again. Okay, so we have that one there, this one here. This is going to be an M3 by 8 button head. So let's go grab our M3 by, I'm assuming M3 by 8 button head. Going to be in 3x12 for these. We're going to have to build the colony clacker door. But I feel like we've made solid progress today by finally getting a actual homing sequence done. I feel like we've made major strides and gains. Give me that. All right. Where is... Pretty bad when you can't see where the nut's at. There you are. That should work. Seriously? All right, there we go. All right, so we've got the corners and we've got the rear piece there. We'll have to still do the PTFE tube pieces. We'll get our side and bottom put in. Now, is this one side or... Yeah, just one on each side, one on the bottom. One there. There we go. So rear panel is on. Yay. We still need to do the mount the PTFE pieces. There'll be PTFE pieces on two sides, this side and this side. And these will need some heat set inserts. So let's go ahead and throw a couple of heat sets in. I'll just grab from my stash. And I just looked at this thinking, oh, we're going to need the nut. We don't. These are the T-slots as well. And the way these work, we're putting in some heat set inserts on this side. And when it mounts, it'll mount like this. We'll bring a screw in from this side into that heat set insert to clamp around the PTFE tube. And that will give us our mounting point for the PTFE tube. Oh, I'm feeling like we're making progress finally today. It feels so good. It felt like we had stalled on this for a while. Are you going in there? You're going clamp, clamp. Get this out of the way then. How is that working? Oh yeah, it just clamps on there just like that. Kind of closer more to this than this. Our T-bar bin. Turn that. Now we should probably have a top panel on there as well. Which we'll get there. Yeah, we can probably put the top panel on now as well. Top panel is going to be clear. Now let's get the PTFE tube run first. Did we have PTFE? Thought we did. Yes, we have PTFE down here. $2mm. Do we have some 3mm reverse Bowden tube or not? I wish Zura was here, but let's see, is this? That is the 2mm inside diameter. Because we're running a direct drive system, we really want a 3mm reverse Bowden tube because that gives us the least resistance. Front to back. That looks like 2, and this being Creality is going to be 2. So what I'll do is I'll grab some of my my PTFE tube, and oh, I just realized that is a USB one, so we'll go ahead and install that. I'll grab some of my PTFE tube, and we'll get that put in place because, yeah, that'll be I think we are all done with this one, so we'll put that back in there. 3mm reverse Bowden tube of a sufficient length. Come through here, going to here, through that. Before I go too much further, we need to take our front panel here, put this in place. And this will get, looks like it has some M2 screws. We want to make sure when we're putting in this PTFE tube that we are all the way to the front, all the way to a corner, because that will be our farthest. We're just going to keep pulling this through. All right, there we go. We're locked into the tool head, and we don't want a lot of extra slack, but we also don't want this kind of pulled back at a harsh angle either, because you want to be able to come in and go as straight down for easier feeding, getting your stuff in there. So once we get that, that looks good to me. Then we can put our M3 by 12 button head screw in here, and we don't want to tighten it up to where we crush that PTFE tube, but we just want to snug it up to where that PTFE tube is not moving freely. All right, right there, I'm starting to feel a little bit of tension. I can still pull that PTFE tube, so still feeling the PTFE tube moving. There we go. So all I'm doing is slight quarter turns, and I just want to make sure that I can't pull that PTFE tube out, because if I can, then just the friction of the material coming through the tube can push this tube in and out or pull it out or what have you. We do need to put our two self-tappers in here. And his self-tappers are, which ones? M2 by 10 screws. He's got the nicer self-tappers that use the socket heads, so much nicer than trying to do it with a Phillips head screwdriver. And this is just tapping from the front panel to the rear panel so that we'll keep the closure. The seal around our panel. And you're going into plastic, so don't worry about trying to ugga-dugga it down, because you'll just strip the plastic out. I'm going to go ahead and leave this a little long because I need to get the top panel in before I do this other one. And then with the top panel and the back panel on, we'll have the ability to go ahead and route our PTFE tube. Well, our PTFE tube in place, and we'll be able to run our filament as well, and we'll try and get a test print going. There's that one. Where's the... There it is. Once again, we're going to use our fingers as the guide. I hope everybody's doing good today. Everybody's kind of quiet. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are probably just lurking and listening as they're doing their con crunch activities, getting ready for the show. I know Turtle Crawler's probably trying to get like 8 box turtles ready to go. And like I said, the couple that are behind me are destined for upgrades. I'm going to bring them up to the final spec, or the, as being sold spec. And the one is going to come off because Fabreeko is going to turn into a stealth changer. And then the one on Iron Dragon is going to get an enclosure when it gets the rebuild. So that'll be, we'll do another box turtle build on stream maybe. I did hear somebody complain about the, oh my God, the box turtle craze. Everybody's doing them, blah, 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 blah. So maybe not, because it may not be content that people want to see anymore. But maybe the one that we bring off of Fabreeko will get rebuilt with the color scheme of the Ender 3NG, and we'll put it on the Ender 3NG. Hopefully we can squeeze that top panel in place there. There we go. A little squishy, squishy. And once again, all of our screws that we have up here are kind of pointless. I'm going to try and get them moved into the corners where they'll be out of the way and captured by the whatchamacallit, so that they're not rattling around as much as possible. And when I say captured, I mean they'll be held in place behind the teeth twists. Wish I could get 2 of them there, but I don't think I'm going to. I don't think it's going to go in. So Zero is going to have some ability to add some things here or there if he wants, because there will be nuts in place, basically. And we'll get these rear corners in place, and then we'll work on the others. We'll do the middle joints a little bit later once we get this done. Okay, so we've got those two. Now we'll just need the third one over here. We'll need the one over here. This doesn't look like it comes out too far. Get this around and see about how far it comes out. Not too far, because we still have to account for the handles. Ooh, the handles. So the handle's going to need, when the handles go on, the handles, go on there. So there's going to be clips here and here. How do the handles work? Awesome. So the handles go on, and they've got secondary pieces to them that you looks like a handle piece. So we wind up screwing through these into heat sets on the handles right there. So we're going to have to put some heat sets in the handles, and might have to take that panel back off to put the handle on, because words on stream sometimes. We have to screw these parts together, and we're probably not going to have access with this panel in place. So we'll have to pop the corner panel pieces back off to pull the panel back out. Might be easier said than done. There we go. We can at least get 2 of them off. That should help us. Need a couple more of these. This helps if I actually press the button. Okay, it's almost 12. I believe, Lee Marie, you're streaming at 12, right? Hey, Timor, how's it going? Welcome, welcome. We are trying to put a couple panels together. See if we can't switch the thing around here. Holy cow, is that a... There we go. Yeah, we're working on getting our panels on some, so we managed, with the help of Steve Builds, really helping me sort of quasi pull my head out and think about things a little bit better. We've got our printer homing. And so I decided it would be a good time to come in and start getting a couple of the panels in place so that we can get our PTFE tube going and we can do our E-step verification. And once we have the E-steps done, we can try and do a first print. And it's just one of those things that every time you look at the model, because once again, there's not a manual that gets this far in there, that, you know, I've got nuts in place on the frame, but yet we're not going to be using them because we've got the T-lock mechanism. So we've got a lot of nuts in the frame that are going to be quasi free floating. So we're going to try and find a way of basically locking them in. All right, so that goes there. Yeah, this is going to go down in the frame when this comes in. So we really do need to take this off to get the handles on. Now, I think if we just turn these, we'll release the pressure on the panel. At least, and let us pull this panel back out so that we can get these in place. And we need to really work on getting these Situated. Let's go 80. And about 85. So we need to go to about right there. How is these going to work? Down in the slot. I have to with a bunch of grub screws. Yeah, grub screws would lock them into place. And these anodized frames are, like, it almost feels like there's a channel on the edge here. Like there is a little bit of a bump, which makes it want to lock in the lip, but trying to get this to lock in the lip is what I'm having an issue with right this second. So this is locking in from the front and from the lip. So every 15-15 extrusion is going to be slightly different and have a slightly different tolerance profile. And it might be that if I undid this one and this one, pulled it up, I could slide this in that lip. It might be the best way to go. I really don't want to take, I can't because of these. So I cannot take them off because of the Z's. So yeah, we're just going to have to file this down some to give us the ugga-duggas we need to get this in there. Hey, Hutch's Makerspace, how's it going? Getting one side somewhat in, but the other side just does not want to go in. And this is now starting to get wedged. First coffee. I've already had cup one. I'm on cup two now. So, yeah. All right. So that's close to being down in there. It's awesome the way this locks in. like a locking clamp. And of course, that is not in the right spot. Be anywhere near even front to back, side to side. Why do we have to have an overcomplicated design here? I mean, just why? Cannot be this difficult to get a handle installed on a machine. And if it's going to require this much finagling, I'm just going to leave it with that. It should not require this much finagling. I hope you're doing well, Hutch's Makerspace. Yeah, basically what I'm having to do is file down my printed parts ever so slightly because um, the 1515s, like I said, are all different size and spec. These have been anodized, which means that you've probably got less of a gap here than you normally would. And there we go. That went in. So I'm having to fight a couple of different issues here. One is the way the two parts marry together. There is a kind of a lip and whatchamacallit, a screw that's going to have to go through here into a piece. Yeah, I'm just having a fight where I don't think I should be having to fight to get printed parts to go into this, but I know it's 1515. That's sort of the nature of 1515, so I just need to stop complaining. What the heck are you not lining up? Hey, Zombie, how's it going? Hopefully you're having a good day. You getting all prepared for 3D Printopia? All right, one side down. You're building another RC car. Of course. I know Evil Diesel had made the decision to, like yesterday, start a complete redesign of Miss Dragon's Death Racer. He's like, don't worry, the original design is all printed out and ready to go. I just decided I wanted to redo it. I'm like, seriously? Less than a week out. Yeah, so I'm just trying to file these parts down some. I don't think they're over extruded. I think they're just, tolerance of 15-15 rail is where we're at. They're trying to print basically a 15-15 contour so you have a little nub that drops in. And it's like, yeah, that's great. That's nice. It's quick, I promise. Exactly. So just a small, short, minor application of a file, and we should be ready to go here. Builds came to my rescue earlier and helped me get the PZ probe figured out. So that's up and working. Or at least it was before we turned the printer off. So we'll see when we turn the printer back on if it's still functioning or not. Oh, yeah. Let's actually put these on the correct side. Oh, I had that on the correct side. Now, this is going to go approximately 82 and a half. That's about where that's going to go. It was frozen sensitivity setting. We had to make some adjustments to the oh, what am I thinking of now? We made adjustments to the X sensitivity for the sensorless homing. We upped the actual oh, whatchamacallit, for the motors. We're now at half an amp when it does the homing versus 0.4 or 0.45. We did up it to 0.5. So we are running at half an amp. And we've got, I think we're on the second sensitivity level, non-filtered. I don't think it was triggering early from vibrations, but I think we were. What happened is it would do like the first, and then the second time it would start trying to drive down into the bed. So it was really weird. But now I decided I'm going to put at least the top and um, I'm going to do the top panel and the rear panel, and then we'll come back and get our PTFE tube run, and we'll do a calibrate our E steps, and we'll calibrate the words. I'm telling you, we'll calibrate the E steps, and then we'll get our first test print done. This one feels like it's broken, and it is. So one thing with these little twisties, you got to be careful, otherwise you break them, and then you got to dig them out and put a new one in. I guess I'll be printing a few extra of the little twist tees. All right, there we go. We'll need our side pieces, our rear piece, side piece. We're going to have some extra, screws in here because I did not realize that this was going to be all twist tees. So I loaded all the screws like it was telling me to, or not screws, but nuts. So we've got a lot of nuts that will probably rattle some, which that part sucks, but maybe motor vibration could be. But it's kind of like centralist homing. It seems very much like it's a balancing act between motor power and sensitivity settings, right? So, yeah, fun. Get this centered. Oh, one more of these. Yep, front. Okay, so that's there. We've got that stuff done. We'll worry about the rest of the panels in a little bit. We're doing a colony clacker door, so we'll have that. The other thing, I'm glad I didn't just put panels on, because that would be heinous, was I was facing the same thing that Steve was, where the ant head was it kind of bends backwards some. And what my thought was is if I added the this is for a beacon probe. If I added this, it may tie in the bottom to the bottom of the carriage, which would hopefully make it easier for us to God, words on stream. It'll make it easier for us to hopefully get the hot end straight up and down, which would also impact its probing, because the piezo probe is looking for a squish of that washer. It's looking for electrical change in the resistance of that washer as it's squished, right? That's the load cell. And if there is an angle, it may actually get differing readings as it hits at a different angle each time, potentially. So I think that may get our sensitivity a little bit better if I can sort of get that straight on up and down better. If that makes any sense whatsoever to anybody. The hell is going on? Think through this. that goes there. That goes there, that goes there. Okay. I'm trying to fight this other thing of foam. Whatever. You go there. Let's do another T-fitting right there for the other. I'm going to leave that PTFE tube. I guess I'm not going to leave it long. I will go ahead and trim this. It doesn't need to be that long. Grab a tube cutter and this. Like I said, it doesn't need to be that long. We're just basically using it as a stub. We'll have our spool right here. Boom. So now we've got PTFE tube in place. Cut her there. Put this away for now. I will have to turn this on and raise it up some in order to be able to try and get that support piece in there. We are getting close to a stopping point. Because I'm going to have to stop and do a couple of things before driving down and picking up Mrs. Dragon at the airport. But we're probing decently, and we've got, I say probing decently, we are getting good probe, and we are getting a good QGL. I did have to adjust my QGL points a bit because they were, yeah, they were. Yay. Yeah, so the QGL was at 1, so it was like right at the very edge of the bed. I was like, yeah, probably not a good place to be trying to do our homing at. All right, so nope, didn't want that one. I want Y. All right, and probably want to go up a little bit more as well. All right, good enough. So let me see about trying to put this on. I should just be able to use 8s both ways. And I may have to go down and grab, which kit had that? My Stealth Changer kit is going to have a smaller length 2mm driver, which I'm going to need for this. So let me run down and grab that real fast so I can get that driver. Base kit. But not only do they provide Allen keys, but they provide the drivers in the kit. So not only do you get a 1.5 mil driver, but a smaller 2 mil driver, which will come in handy when you're working down in here. That gives me a second 1.5 mil driver and now a 2 mil driver. Now I'm not planning on using the end stop. I'm just going to be using the whatchamacallit, the, I'm going to have to raise that up some more. Guess so. Thought I was there. No! Waited too long. Now it wants me at home again. I also worry about that CAN bus cable. That IGUS chain flex is just really, feels really thick. Hey, Blue Chalk Bro, how's it going? Oh, don't worry. Yeah, it's been hectic. We've got the PZ probe working reliably now. What I'm going to try and do is put this piece on. This would be the mount for a beacon. Even though we're not using the beacon and we're not using the X end stop, this is going to give us the ability to words on stream. I'm hoping that this will help move out of range. Oh, Jesus. I must have gearing wrong for Z as well. All right, because it says that's 165. Do I not have the right gearing for... Yeah, that's basically 90 mil from the bed. So that's probably a gear ratio issue. But what I'm going to try and do is put this brace in. I can find the hole. Yeah, that's not going to work. That's still too long. 2 mil. Why would I have short 2 mil available? Anyhow, what I'm trying to do here is get a brace at the bottom in place so that we can hopefully make it a little tighter. And it's got a little bit of a backward tip is what I'm trying to get at. So I want to try and get rid of that backward tip that we are experiencing. This, will we be able to? Potentially, yes. Where the heck are you? Try to do this from behind at an angle. That'll probably get. Would you order shot work for me? That was painful. One side, at least start. Other side. Mm-hmm. All right, thank you, baby. Alexa, stop. All right. Yeah, like I said, I have no intent on using the actual beacon or anything like that. I'm just basically using this as a method of trying to strengthen the overall lower end of this and hopefully pulling it into alignment or better alignment. All right, what's going on there? There we go. The actual part itself is kind of getting in the way of this screw. Oh, did we get it? I don't think so. Which way? Which way do you need to go? Let's shut this off so I can turn this sucker around and look at it a little bit easier from the correct orientation for this particular screw. And because this goes up into the bottom of the metal carriage, and then by tightening the bottom portion, it should resolve our backward tilt, because now it's got something at the back as well, and that just solved the issue. Well, 90% of the issue. There's still a slight, that might actually just be a bulge out of the thing. Yeah, so the fans are pretty much vertical, but there's still an issue with the bottom, but I believe it did draw up the parts that we need to be drawn up. Okay. Not sure what I just knocked over. One of those things. Okay. So we're back at it. Let me move this all the way over. I will need to set up a a spool of filament over here, and we need to calculate our E steps, and we need to calculate E steps, and then all the goodness from there, right? We'll get that going. We'll have those two small ones right there. I'll take that one, throw it in my bag. I need to also run your the the USB cable underneath. I didn't realize that was a USB cable, so yes, we're mechanically moving now. Everything's working right, so we need to do E steps, and then start the tuning process. We'll get the rest of the panels put on. I need to do the door. Not the end of the world if I don't run the USB. Yeah. Now the other thing I just noticed was I don't have a bottom panel for this. We've got the back panel and the top panel installed. I've got 3 other panels, so that would be the 2 sides and what would be the front for the door. The other panel that we had in that package was, of course, the one that you got to do the other door that we decided we're going to go against, or not go against, but not use. So that'll come back to you. We do have the colony clacker stuff, so we still need to work on getting that done. I don't know when, but we are leaving here on Thursday and driving up to Printopia. So This may be getting done at the show venue if we have to. Here are... Just because Mrs. Dragon's coming home today, I got to go pick her up. That's what my alarm was set for. I have to go pick her up, and then, well, let me rephrase that. It'll get done before the show. The question is whether or not it's going to be streamed or if it's just going to get done. And I have a feeling it's just going to get done. Because I'm feeling the time crunch, and I'm just going to get it done. Whether I'm streaming or not, because I do need to spend some time with Mrs. Dragon because she's been gone for a few weeks. The riff is not pushing plastic yet, Waters, because I can't seem to get it to do a Z-tilt adjust. And both Thunder Keys and Steve Builds were like, do a QGL. So I'm going to try and switch it over to QGL and see if that helps. And then once that's done, I did, I had a spool sitting up here going all the way across to the printer over here. I do have E-steps calibrated over here. Yeah, I just need to get the QGL figured out. And once I get that figured out, I can close up the deck panel. And once again, this isn't going to have an under deck panel either. I haven't even... It's got a hodgepodge of skirts on it right now. So, yeah, it'll go the way it is with, of course, full deck panel on it. It'll go that way. And I'm still trying to figure out, I thought I had a 2040 spool holder from the, was it a 2040? I just saw it, so let me grab that. And no, this is not a 2040, this is a 2020, but I can take this, yeah, mount it there. And that'll at least give me a spool holder that we can use for the show. So this is actually made to go on top of a bear. So I'll see if I can use this or find something else, even if I have to print it. But I'll need a spool holder for this. But I hope to have this pushing plastic here very shortly. Like I said, the crunch is on. All right, so we QGL'd the tolerance is set to 0065. We QGL'd to 006875. So we've got a good QGL. But like I said, folks, I unfortunately need to call the stream here because I need to go and do a couple of things on my way to the airport to pick Mrs. Dragon up. She comes in about a little over 2 hours. So, Waters, are you going into the store? Or are you at the store right now? Yes, there's stuff for a spool holder on the Micron. I just have not installed it yet because it needs to install after that side panel's on, I believe. Let me double check. Here's kind of some of the parts that are still left. You've got the colony clacker, door, trim pieces I don't think we use anymore. Here we go. Yeah, so this is one of the pieces that'll actually screw on with a bolt. So I'll have to throw that in there to do that. But it's made so that it can slide in this way. Where are you going? Oh, it'll slide in here. Let me do bench side. So this piece mounts over here. So this will kind of mount, say like that, and it pops out when you're using it, and then you can pull it off. And so this way is when you're using it, and then this way is for transportation, so it goes right along the edge there, and you stand less of a chance of breaking it off. So I'll work on easing this in a little bit, and we'll get this installed as well, and then we'll be good to go. But yeah, this has to go around the panel as well, so we'll get it going. It actually screws into both sides, so we'll have to get that in place and set up. But we're getting there. We're getting there. We're close. We are close. Like I said, it's close that we're just putting, we're dressing her up now, is what we're going to be doing. So you will not be there when I stop by? No, dude, you have to be, because I want to pick up that filament when I come by. I'm teasing. You don't have to go in. You spend time with your wife as well. You'll ask Clover to pull it out for you. Okay, is Clover there today? My plan was to stop by before I go to the airport and pick Mrs. Dragon up. That way, after I pick her up, we can just scoot out, and they are okay. Good. That way, we can just scoot out and probably grab some. I'll take her out to eat. She's been gone for a while. We'll take her out to eat and catch up. But when I get back, I do want to push plastic before I put the side panels on. And once I push plastic, then I'll put side panels on. We'll get the door done up. If I can, I will stream, but I'm not going to guarantee that I'm going to stream while I do this, just because, you know, time crunches, right? So let me see, is there somebody up and running that we can raid into? And if so, we'll raid in. If not, we'll call it there and bounce. Let's see who we've got. Nathan builds things. Looks like he's doing some brick building. Sigarecki. Stephen Poole. Ugly Moo's doing some painting. Same Old Shane is doing a Lego Star Wars Dark Trooper helmet. If anybody has a suggestion, I'm open. If not, we'll pick somebody. Heck, maybe let's see if there's just somebody new out there that we've never seen before. Anybody at all. I'm really not seeing a lot. All right, so let me just grab somebody real fast, and we'll go see Ugly Moo. For those of you that are still with me, thank you all for being here. Thank you for sticking with me through this build. I know it's been long and arduous, but we got through it. A few more things to do, get some panels on, and we'll be ready to go. So thank you all for being here. I'm going to be pushing, trying to get printers ready to go and stuff. So There should be a stream Tuesday. Thursday, if I stream, it will be literally from Bel Air, Maryland, once we're there and at the hotel. So it may just be a, hey, we made it type stream straight off the laptop. So thank you all for being here. You all have a great day. Go with me as we head over to Ugly Moo. And I will see you guys around the interwebs and see you guys later on this week. Take care now. Be safe. Bye. And for those of you sticking around watching this on YouTube, I appreciate you being here as well. Please be sure to like this video, hit that subscribe button, and click that bell to be notified of future videos. Speaking of future videos, it's going to be YouTube suggesting one right over here for you. Take care.